Okay, so let's get stuck into it. And talk about generate leads to start with. Now, before you start generating leads, there's a few things that you need to know. Okay, first thing you need to know is your destination. Now, what I mean by destination is how many clients or leads do you need? Like knowing basically your key performance measures. Rather than just saying, when I work with small business or start to work with business owners, I say, we do a bit of analysis, and generally what comes of it, if I ask them, they say, I need more leads, okay, which is fairly common. How many more? How many is enough for you to make the money that you're committed to making? How many is enough for you to create that financial freedom? Thousands. And we're talking about leads, there's two ways you can generate leads, external and internal. So from new as well as existing, all right? And don't forget that, I know you guys don't, and fortunately we're in a room full of, in the service-based industry, that you guys get more so than any other industry that retention is just as important as attraction, okay? But how many do you need? Based on knowing your numbers. Now, what I mean by knowing your numbers is, well, how good are you at converting those phone inquiries and converting them to appointments? How good are you at rebooking those appointments once they've come in? And based on your ability to convert and retain, how many new leads each month do you need to attract to make sure that you're breaking even or making the money you want to make? And you do some work around your average transaction value and if you're not sure, talk to a bookkeeper or have a chat to one of us to get some key figures around that. Okay? But first is have a clear outcome of how many leads you require. Number two, you want to know, yeah.
Do we get a copy of all this?
Would you like a copy of this? I'm going to by the way, this is being recorded. Is that okay? Has anyone majorly objected to that? You're out of the loop, so that's fine. I can see. It's on. It's on.
Country that couldn't be here tonight, so they asked if we could record the event for them.
Is that okay?
So as long as they don't see.
That's fine. That's fine. It's looking over your head. That's okay. So you can get a I'll do up a copy and maybe in a. I can definitely edit a bit about the circle. I'll leave that out. No names. There's no names there. You're too funny. So yes, you'll get a copy of that.
Thank you.
Lifetime value of a client. Know what your lifetime value of a client is. So, and you need to know that so you can work out what we call your allowable acquisition cost. In other words, how much are you prepared to invest to attract a new client? If I was to say, Wendy, yeah, I was going to use you as an example. How much would you be prepared to invest in, or how much would you write me a check for if I was to give you one new client? Now you'd have to answer that. But you want to be able to answer, okay, well, given my lifetime value of a client, given that on average they spend X amount of dollars, and I see them once a month or twice a month or once a quarter, and they'll probably be with me for, let's say, 5 years or 6 years or 10 years, depending on who you are and your service, and that they're probably going to refer because I offer amazing service and I've got a referral program already set up. And what's that value of the referrals worth? You're going to come up with a fairly large number. And we ran that exercise this morning in one of our sales mastery courses for our sales managers, and they were quite surprised. Like, we were coming up with numbers of $50,000, $60,000. Now, and we're talking with average dollar values of not a great deal, $60 and $70. But by the time you actually get that exponential equation, referrals, transaction frequency, it adds up, okay? But having a clear understanding of how much you're able to invest to attract. That way, guys, you're not getting swept up in the hype of the next advertising salesperson that walks through the door.
$60,000 is entirely unrealistic to pay for a lead, though, isn't it?
100%, 100%. And so how much would you be prepared as a percentage? Now, it might be that you might pay 0.5% or 1/3% or something like that. But knowing that it was $60,000 did two things. One, then they take the gross profit margin or their profit margin into account, how much they're actually going to make from that. Two, they want to make sure they can then focus on their retention strategy, because otherwise $60,000 is just this hypothetical number. Yep. And three, it gave them a real good opportunity to have sort of a bit of a reality check to say when the phone rang and there's a new prospect on the phone,
there could be potentially $60,000.
Potentially $60,000 worth of business sitting there. Okay, it shifts the mindset. Okay, but you're right, you wouldn't spend $60,000 to acquire it because obviously most small business owners don't have $60,000 to acquire one, and it'd be a long return on your investment. Okay, so but have a clear indication of how much you are prepared to invest. Okay, before you even get into advertising or marketing methods, be prepared to work out how much you're.
Because in this industry, Simon, one of the things that has sort of swept through this industry is scoop on and all of that. So
Yes.
it's really knowing that information before making those decisions.
That's correct. And we're going to get to that. We're going to get a little bit about discounting and the impact that has later. I know you guys mentioned scoop on before, so not anti anything, but just make sure that you're getting your best return on the investment for that. Okay.